This is 99% craps.
Hard 10, hard 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% craps.
Coming up on our third episode of 99% Craps, we continue with the rules of craps, going over shooter rules, discussing bankroll and buy-in, and we start going over betting. First, with bets placed by the player.
Wednesday, July 25th, 2018, Episode 3. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps.
Welcome to the 99% Craps. We're going to get going on talking about how to start playing craps. So as we're going through thinking about playing craps, we need to figure out what size bankroll we need.
Well, what even is a bankroll?
Well, fair. So bankroll is the money that you are going to be bringing to the casino that you're going to actually have to be gambling with. Actually, let me rephrase that. Your bankroll is the overall amount of money, your total bankroll. It's all the money you have to gamble with. That's what your bankroll is.
And your bankroll should definitely be separate from your regular money. Like if you're going on a trip, you should have $500 in cash for food and fun, and whatever your bankroll is, that is for just gambling.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely have done through our gambling experience, crap experience. We have a separate bank account and funds for craps and for gambling. That way, we're not taking from our rent or our car payment or anything like that. This is money we have set aside specifically to gamble with, and if we lose it, if something happens, it's not going to affect our livelihood as well. So that's something we definitely want to recommend to y'all, is have a separate account that you have for your gambling funds.
Well, it's never good to take your house mortgage and
No.
run up to Lake Charles and try to make some other bills paid for also.
No.
wanna do
This
that.
is definitely, you're still in the world of this is entertainment and not a way to
We've compared
supplement bills.
We've compared this to a hobby.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is
Instead of us playing golf or
right. The money that we spend on another hobby, this is what we spend on this hobby. And with this hobby, we also have the opportunity to make that money back, and then some. And that's why we like doing this. But you really have to be careful. Obviously, everybody knows gambling can be very addictive and is a problem, and there's a 1-800 number for that.
And you have to keep your gambling proportional to your income.
True. And that's the thing. With your bankroll, once you figure out how much your bankroll needs to be, you can save up for that bankroll. You can spend some time at home and practice.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
And play on the computer or play on a makeshift table, and then basically earn your way to the table.
Well, and a lot of variables go into determining your bankroll. Frequency of visits to a casino. If you're able to go weekly, then you might not need to take $2,000 if you only go once every 6 months.
That's true. Yeah, though the frequency of gambling also dictates the size of your bankroll. Sure. And that's the thing. I mean, who are we talking about? We're not talking really to professional gamblers. We're talking about the casual gambler and the recreational gambler. And so for that matter, what are we talking? If we're having a good year, that would be, 4 trips to Vegas or,
trips, sure.
I mean, if you're looking at your gambling year, 4 gambling trips would be a really good year. So if that's what you want to do, then you calculate those 4 trips, how many days are those trips, and then how many casinos are you going to go see on that trip, and then you break your bankroll down in debt. how many sessions per day are you going to gamble. And that's kind of what you end up doing with your bankroll, is dividing it down to how much you're going to take with you on your trip, and then how much you're going to spend each day, and then each day how many times you're going to gamble.
Well, you don't want to blow your load too early.
No, that is not what you want to do, especially when you're on a long trip.
Yeah, you got to have it divided out. So if you plan on having 5 sessions, you know, and 300 might be your bankroll, so you need to bring 1,500.
Right. So, anyways, those are the things that you need to think about calculating your bankroll, and then it's also the level of betting that you're going to do. We talked earlier about table minimums, and so there's $5 minimums and $10 minimums. Well, how many bets are you going to make on a player? How many bets are you going to make at a time is also going to determine the size of your bankroll. Just one bet at a time, you can have a smaller bankroll than if you're going to bet 2 or 3 bets per person. So all that factors into the size of your bankroll and then the type of gambler you're going to be. If you want to be a bigger gambler, then you're going to have to save some more money or make some more money and contribute that to your separate gambling fund. You're also looking for a place to fit in. So if there's people there, obviously you just go in between 2 people. When you're looking at the rail is divided up into sections. And so the top rail where you put your chips, there's actually segments in that rail. And so those are actually the positions that you get in at on the table. And so if there's
well, you got to have a separator for your chips. I mean, just like at the grocery store, you don't mingle your groceries with other people's.
Well, right, I understand that, but that's how you approach the table, is you're going into one of these stables, so to speak.
You need your separator.
So we're going up to the table, and we're looking to also look to see if the puck says on or off. If the puck is on, then that means the game is in session, and you want to basically wait until the shooter sevens out or hits their point. If the puck says off, then this also could be a good time for you to buy in. It would be if the dice are in the center of the table, the stick person has them, then go ahead and put your money on the table, and the dealers will pick up that money and give you chips for that money. They'll actually count it out first, but that would be all you need to do to buy in. Find your slot at the table, look to make sure that the game is at a stopping point where basically the puck says off. The dice should be in the center of the table. Throw your money in the middle of the table.
And you really want to wait to do this, and be careful when you put your money down on the table, because it could disrupt the shooter, and a lot of people could lose money.
Yeah.
So it's part of an etiquette thing, but it's also just being introducing yourself to the table correctly.
That's probably where we haven't really shared too much about why we're saying to do this. Yeah, this is the way we do it because this is the better etiquette of the game, the way that we like to see it doing. You don't want to interrupt somebody's roll.
Well, and you always talk about positive karma, so you don't want to be the negative thing that's first getting to the table. You want to allow whatever is going on to finish and then buy in so that you can maintain a good feel at that table.
True. So yeah, so basically this is also the proper etiquette at the table of how to buy in. You want to wait your turn to buy in. You want to wait for the session to be over for you to buy in. I mean, basically it's the same thing as if you're playing bubble craps or one of these other craps games. You can't buy in once the dice are rolling.
Right.
You got to wait, and place your bet before the dice start
rolling. Kind of
rolling.
like roulette when they say no more bets.
Exactly. So that's the thing. There's a lot of people that make late bets and all that kind of stuff. The buy-in part is another one of those things where you really don't want to do that during somebody's roll.
Can disrupt
it disrupts
that
roll and the energy there. There's so many times where we've been at a table and the shooter is missing one number for the bonus bet.
Oh yes.
Or well, basically it's the bonus bet that they really
because people
have
win
a problem
big on
with.
that.
Yeah, that's 175 or 150 to 1. You know, and yeah, you get up here and you're throwing a couple $100 and you're missing, you know, other people are missing out on maybe making $1,500. They're going to get really pissed at you for disrupting that table. And I say get pissed off at you. I mean, really, they're just going to glare at you. But, you know, I guess if you go to the wrong casino in the wrong part of town.
Yeah, but it also can change the mood of the table, because it can go from very positive to very mellow, or even worse than mellow very quickly.
Well, yeah, no, it can get ice cold from something like that, and you don't necessarily want to be the cause of that. And if anything, that's again something we're trying to do is get this anxiety off of you,
Well,
so you
and
don't have this pressure. We didn't talk much about selecting a table based on minimums. Remember that each table has a placard. 2 placards on the table, and it'll tell you what the table minimum is.
And
you know,
maximum.
5, 10, 15, 25. Usually one of those is what you're going to run into. And then that'll be the minimum bet size you can make, obviously. And then once you select that table, you know, they make eye contact with your dealers. You know, they're friendly. They're going to ask you what you need. They'll let you know whether or not they can take your money or not.
They usually never say no.
They usually never say no. So, and then you just want to see if the puck is on or off, and where the dice are, so you don't do anything in the middle of a roll. I think you're going to be good. And then, yeah, then the buy-in is basically you're giving your money to the dealer, to the base dealer right in front of you, on your half that you're on. He's going to take that money. He's going to lay it out in front of him and the box man.
Well, don't forget, you have to lay it on the table. You can't hand it to him.
Yeah, no, we mentioned that in the other episode before. So there's no hand-to-hand interactions with you and the dealers.
It's worse than a strip club.
Exactly. There's no. They don't have a 3-foot rule. But
there's absolutely no touching.
There is no touching. So you drop your money on the table, and they lay it out so that they can count it, so that they can see it, so the box man can see it, and so that the eye in the sky can see it too. So then once they count it, the box man will tell the dealer how much money to give to you. He'll count it out in front of you in the come area of the table, and then pass it to you, and then they'll probably have the dice go out and they'll start the game. And then the box man will take that cash, stack it back up, and then with a clear plastic paddle, stick that money into a slot in the middle of the table, and that would be the well of the table, and that's where all the money goes. And they exchange those boxes when they get full, I guess. End of the day, end of a shift.
Yeah, I think they do some
and
kind
then,
of shift, space shift.
I mean, obviously they'll change them out if they get full. So, but that would be buy-in. And I think next we start getting into betting and shooting the dice. So that's going to be coming up next. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about placing bets. And we've categorized bets into 3 different categories. Basically, bets that can be placed by the player or shooter, bets that can be placed by the dealer, and bets that are placed by the stickman. We're going to go through each one of those sections in different episodes. So this first episode, we're going to start with basically the basics on how the player can actually play. And actually, there's not that many bets that you can do by yourself, so they're really, really simple. The first one is a pass line bet. And as we talked about in the layout, the pass line bet is the closest thing to you at the table. And
it actually says pass line.
It does say pass line on it. And so basically, it's bets that you place in that part of the layout. You'll put a minimum amount on the table, 5, 10, 15, depending on what table you're playing at. And that's what you put in the pass line section. You don't have to be the shooter, you can just be a player, and what you're doing is you're betting that the shooter will hit either a 7 or 11 on the come out roll, which is the first roll, then you would win. So 7, 11 wins, and you win even money. If a 2, 3, or 12 comes, on the come out roll,
You lose.
then you lose. If any other number is rolled, that number becomes the point. And so that number could be 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10. The dealers will then put the puck on that point, turn it to on the white side, and that will be the point. And then that becomes the goal for the shooter, is the goal now to hit that point before they roll a 7. If the point is rolled again, then before a 7, the shooter wins, the player wins, everybody on the pass line wins. You win even money for that bet.
That's usually what everybody's cheering for.
It's how you play with the table. You're betting with the shooter. And basically, the other thing is it's the pass line bet is a contract bet. So that being said, what that means is once you put that bet down, you cannot pick it back up until the culmination of the roll.
It's one of the few only bets that's a contract bet.
So pass line is a contract bet. So once it's placed, you can't pick it up. And the other thing is you're trying to roll the point before a 7. You win even money. If the 7's rolled before the point is made, then you lose, and the shooter loses, and the dice get passed to the next person. Pass line bets can't be reduced, or like I said, or removed after the point is established. So that's pass line bet. It's one of the easiest bets, and you're betting with the shooter that he'll hit the point or 7-11 on the come out. Next is the complete opposite of that bet, which is the next line as you go across the table. It's the don't pass bet.
Give yourself to the dark side.
And the don't pass bet, basically the first roll on the come out from the shooter, if he rolls a 2 or 3, then the don't pass wins.
Give yourself to the dark side.
If he rolls a 12, it's a push, and you don't lose any money, you don't win any money.
But if a 7 or 11 comes,
if a 7 or 11 comes on the come out, then you lose. And then again, if another number, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10 show up, the point gets marked, and on the opposite side, on the don't pass side,
give yourself to the dark side.
You are now rooting for the 7 to hit before the point number. So basically you're betting with the house and against the shooter. And again, this is an even money bet. So your $5 wins $5, $10 wins $10, and $15, and so forth. Now this bet has to be placed before the come out roll, so it has to be at the beginning of the play. You can't do it once the point's been established. And this bet is not a contract bet. So if at any time you feel uncomfortable and want to pick that bet up, you can pick it up. You can also decrease the bet if you'd like. If it's a $15 bet, well, depending on the table minimum, you can't go below the table minimum. But if you had a $50 bet and wanted to make it 25, you could do that as well. And then at the same time, the bet cannot be increased. So if you have a $15 bet out there, you can't make it, you can't increase that bet at all. That's just not how that works. There's different ways to increase the bet, and we'll go about that in the next episode. Pass line, don't pass.
Give yourself to the dark side.
And then now we're going to talk about odds. And so odds is a way for you to increase your bet after the point has been established for you to make a little bit extra money. And so basically odds is placed behind the pass line or next to the don't pass.
Give yourself to the dark side.
But let me go through positive or pass line odds first. So at any time after a point's been established, you can take odds in addition to your original bet. Odds is placed behind the pass line bet, and a player can remove those odds at any time. So the odds are not a contract bet, but the pass line is. The odds pay true odds, or free odds is what they call them. So it actually works on the probability of the numbers. So if the point is 4 or 10, the odds will pay you 2 to 1. So your pass line bet would give you even money, but your odds bet would pay 2 to 1. So let's just say it's a $5 table. You have $5 on the pass line and you put $5 odds behind. Your $5 pass line bet would win equal money if a 4 shows, or if the point is 4 and it shows, then you would win even money. On the odds, you would get 2 to 1. So that $5 would win $10. If the point is 5 or 9, odds pay 3 to 2. If the point is 6 or 8, those odds pay 6 to 5. Now we'll have this all written down on our Facebook page and all those other places for you to look so you can reference them, because I know this is going to be a little difficult since we haven't gone through probability yet. But just remember that odds are bets that you can put in addition to your pass line bet. Now, if you're on the don't pass,
Give yourself to the dark side.
and want to increase your bet, they have don't pass odds. Now that works in the exact reverse because you're betting with the house. So the don't pass
Give yourself to the dark side.
wins when the shooter rolls a 7 before his point, or basically when the house wins. The don't pass line would win even money, but then if you put odds for the don't pass,
Give yourself to the dark side.
it would pay the opposite of the pass line odds. So don't pass odds for the 4 and 10 pays 1 to 2. So you'd have to bet $10 to win $5. On the 5 or 9, it pays 2 to 3. A point of 6 or 8 pays 5 to 6. So it's actually the inverse of odds for the pass line bet. So basically you have to bet extra to be with the house, but this is the way that you increase your bets on the don't pass.
Give yourself to the dark side.
It's on the pass. And we'll go more over odds as we get through into strategy and
Oh,
into
we could do
probability.
show after show just on odds and stuff like that, yes.
No, odds is one of those things that's a little tricky, and we see a lot of people not doing it properly. So it's really tough to kind of start talking about them, but as we go through these episodes, hopefully we'll be able to get over the anxiety of these bets, let you feel comfortable about making these bets.
Yeah, because if you're not putting the right odds on your bet, sometimes you're giving money back to the house even when you win. So you need to make sure that you are protecting your money and putting out the right amount of odds so that you can get paid properly.
Yeah, so anyway, so we'll go through more strategy and more talk on odds as we get through betting and into strategy and the more intricacies of craps playing. So there are actually basically 2.5 or 3 more bets that you can make without the assistance of a dealer or a stick man. The next one is the area right beyond the don't pass line,
Give yourself to the dark side.
which is the field.
Oh, we love the field.
Field bets are one roll bets. So basically, they're the outcome of any roll that the shooter rolls. So they're just one roll bets. So technically, they're a contract bet, but they're just for that one roll. And they can be placed at any time. And basically, the field is if a 3, a 4, a 9, 10, or 11 is rolled, you win even money. If a 2 or 12 roll wins, then you win 2 to 1. At a few casinos, a 12 can win 3 to 1. So
And that's usually just on the 12s.
Depends on the casino.
I
It
know
goes
that I've
both.
seen it on the aces.
I think I've seen it in Blackhawk. So, but again, it's all on the casino, whatever they want to do. But for the most part, most tables are double and double on the 2 and 12. Actually, in Biloxi, the Beau Rivage actually had triple on the 12. And then in Vegas and in different areas, you'll find triple every once in a while. So basically then, if a 5, 6, 7, or 8 is rolled, you lose. There's basically 16 combinations of the dice that win and 20 that will lose. And so that's your 36 combinations. 16 will win on the field and 20 will lose. So it's an interesting bet. It's an easy bet. And it's something that you can do all by yourself without the help of a dealer. Next is the big 6 and the big 8. We can talk about those as two bets, but they're basically in the same area. They're in the corner, and you'll see it at big red letters. It says big 8 or big 6, and you put money in those areas. And if a 6 is rolled and you've got money in the big 6 area, you win even money if the 6 is rolled before a 7. If you have money on the big 8 and an 8 rolled, you win even money. If a 7 comes before the 8, you lose. And it's pretty simple.
Well, and you know what else we've seen on that spot where the 6 and 8 big are is the below or above 7. We've seen that on a few tables.
Yeah, which is also an even bet. So that's a different. We've seen that only at a handful of tables, but that is another bet. In which case, there's a basically above and below the 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you put money on either section, and it'll pay even money.
And I guess that's different because that's a one-time roll bet.
Above and below bet is a one roll bet, where the big 6 and big 8 is a multi-roll.
Right.
So that is a difference there. But it's in the same location, so, and you won't see both at the same table.
But you're correct.
So
I have not seen that.
So, but that would be the other bets that you can make by yourself without the assistance of a dealer or a stickman. And we'll go through the other bets in the following episodes. This is running a little long for us, so we don't want to make these podcasts too long for everybody, but we do want to cover the basics first, and then we'll get into talking more strategy and trip reports and casino reviews as we go along. Okay, next we've got shooter rules. And so basically this is the person who's throwing the dice. This is, well, like I said, the person's throwing the dice. If you're ever playing a board game or anything like that, Yahtzee, the shooter has the dice. And so when you're playing craps, that is the shooter. So basically the dice are going to move clockwise around the table. So if you're at the table, just understand that the dice will get to you eventually, and they're going clockwise. If you're the first customer at a table, you are going to be the shooter.
No matter where you stand.
Correct. So that's how that works. Basically, if you're the only person at the table, you'll be the shooter. If there's a couple of people that show up at the same time, typically it'll go clockwise from around the box man. But for the most part, first person there gets the dice. The first throw that the shooter makes is called the come out roll. And basically that's the very first roll without a point. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into the actual rules of the game. But your first throw is called the come out roll, and that's what the shooter does. The shooter must have a bet. They need to have at least a pass line bet or a don't pass line bet.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Otherwise they can't shoot. The shooter then will select 2 out of 5 dice. The stickman will have 5 dice that he'll dump out in a bowl on the table, and he'll take his stick and push those dice in front of you, and your job is to select 2 of them. When you're selecting those dice, you can only use one hand. You're not allowed to use 2 hands when you're holding the dice. You can't cup your hands together and shake them like you do for a board game. You can only use one hand. And then at the same time, if you need to switch hands, you need to put those dice back on the table. And otherwise they're going to ask for the dice back, and they get really pissy when you do that. Because, not that they don't like you, but they think
it's slowing the game down.
It's slowing the game down because they have to take the dice back. But at the same time, the assumption is that you're going to switch the dice for some crooked dice to give you an advantage, and that you're a big cheater. So that's why they do that, because they can't see the dice, and so they basically don't want you using 2 hands to hide the dice and then put another dice in there. So when you're shooting the dice, you need to shoot dice to the opposite end of the table that you're on. When you do that, both dice are supposed to hit the back wall. The other thing is, when you're throwing the dice, they should not go higher than eye level of the stickman, but they need to be making all the way down the table in order to hit that back
Yeah,
wall.
and they want you to throw it down the middle as much as possible, because we've been there so many times and somebody's just launching them down and they end up hitting the bank.
Right. Yeah. No. They definitely want you to go. They want them to tumble down the center of the table. They don't want to hit the side walls. They don't want to hit the mirrors. People will try to get all funky angles. They get real pissy about that. And then also when you start aiming for chips and stuff like that, they don't really care for that too much, unless they're at the end of the table and they're in your way. Then you don't really have a choice. But they're supposed to go down the center of the table, and they're supposed to hit that back wall. If one or both of those dice go off the table, the shooter is allowed to request same dice.
Same dice.
Only the shooter is supposed to request that, but we've seen the rest of the table say that, and so follow suit. If everybody else is telling you to say same dice, say same dice.
Same dice.
It's a superstitious thing, but if you don't care, it doesn't matter. But if you don't say anything, they'll give you they'll dump the bowl out and give you the other dice to select from and keep the game going. When that dice goes off the table, that dice ends up going back to the box man. He has to check it before it gets back into play, so it does hold the game up a little bit. And then if you are tired or don't want to shoot anymore, you just want to give up for some reason, you're running late and you got dinner plans or something, or your babysitter's about ready to leave your house, you can surrender the dice. You can just say, I don't want to throw anymore. The stickman then will pass the dice to the next person clockwise. That's got a don't pass bet.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Or a pass bet, and then they'll continue the game. So you are allowed to stop playing if you want to, but that is a very rare situation. I think, I say rare, but we've seen it a couple times.
We saw one time I had a pretty good roll, and I 7'd out, and it went around to this other guy, and he rolled and made the first point, I think, and then he passed it to me, and then I proceeded to roll a 7.
Well, there's that.
It was perfect,
So yeah, no, the times that we've seen people surrender the dice has been mostly when they're playing on the don't.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
And
right.
They keep hitting points and they end up losing all their money, and so therefore they don't have any more money to put on the line in order for them to shoot. So they have to leave the table. Then the dice go to the next person, which is just kind of weird. So anyway, but that is allowed if you don't want to shoot the dice. So those are basically the shooter rules. So there's not too many of them, and that's that.
Basically, the most important rule is just get the dice to the other side of the table.
Dice to the other end of the table. Use one hand. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right.
Coming up on our next episode, we continue with craps betting, discussing bets placed through the dealer and bets placed through the stickman. The Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast. Here's to rolling 7s on the come out, and may your 6s and 8s always be hard. Cheers.